The camera didn't blink. 267 Navy SEALs watched in silence as the woman they mocked for months stepped into the ring. Her opponent cracked his knuckles and smiled. He outweighed her by 90 pounds. What he didn't know was that she'd been hiding something from everyone. Something that would change everything they thought they knew about strength, about power, and about the ghost that had haunted their unit for 3 years. Hey, real quick, comment your city below. I'm always amazed by how many places these stories reach. And if you're into true stories with real emotion, make sure you're subscribed. Lieutenant Sarah Chun wasn't supposed to be here. That's what Commander Jackson told her on her first day at Naval Special Warfare Group 2. Not with words, of course. With silence. With the way his eyes lingered on her name tag before moving past her like she was furniture. She was the first woman assigned to their combat training program. An experiment, they called it. A political stunt. The whispers started immediately. She won't last a week. This is what happens when politicians play soldier. Someone's going to get killed because of this diversity nonsense. Sarah heard every word. She was supposed to. They wanted her to hear. They wanted her to quit. But Sarah Chun had learned long ago that other people's doubts were just noise. Static. Something to tune out while you did the work. So she did the work. Every morning at 0400. While the others slept, she ran. 10 miles through the Virginia cold, her breath forming clouds in the darkness. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She was trying to survive DOT by week 3. She completed every physical test they threw at her. Not just completed, exceeded. Her shooting scores were in the top 15%. Her tactical assessments were flawless. It didn't matter. Sergeant Marcus Webb made sure of that. Webb was a legend. 12 years in the teams. 3 tours in Afghanistan, 2 in Iraq. A confirmed kill count that most snipers would envy. He was the kind of man other men followed without question. And he hated Sarah Chun with a passion that bordered on obsession. Listen up, Webb announced one morning during combat drills. We're going to do something special today. Hand-to-hand combat. No rules, no safety protocols. The way it happens in the real world. His eyes found Sarah in the formation. Chun, you're up first. The other SEALs exchanged glances. This wasn't standard procedure. Everyone knew it. Sarah stepped forward anyway. Webb pointed to a massive operator named Rodriguez. 6'4", 240 pounds of muscle. He'd been an a fighter before joining the Navy. Rodriguez, Webb said, his voice dripping with false concern. Go easy on her. We don't want any lawsuits. Laughter rippled through the group. Sarah stepped into the training ring. A circle of sand surrounded by 267 men who wanted her to fail. Rodriguez approached, and for just a moment, Sarah saw something unexpected in his eyes. Pity. Look, he whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. You don't have to do this. Just tap out. Save yourself the embarrassment. Sarah's response was quiet. Calm. I never tap out. The fight lasted 11 seconds. Rodriguez lunged, telegraphing a takedown that would have worked against 99% of opponents. Sarah wasn't in that 99%. She sidestepped, used his momentum against him, and had him face down in the sand with his arm twisted at an angle that made several spectators wince. He tapped, hard, repeatedly. The silence that followed was deafening. Webb's face turned the color of sunburned leather. Luck, he spat. Pure luck. But it wasn't luck. And somewhere in the back of the formation, a few operators who'd seen real combat began to wonder who Sarah Chun really was. 3 weeks later, everything changed. The briefing room was packed. Every operator from the training program, plus several officers Sarah had never seen before. The air hummed with tension. Commander Jackson stood at the front, his face grave. Gentlemen, and Lieutenant Chun. He paused as if the inclusion of her name pained him. We have a situation. 3 years ago, we lost contact with a deep-cover operative in Caracas. His name was Ghost, real name classified. His mission was to infiltrate a cartel operation that was smuggling military-grade weapons to terrorist cells. Jackson clicked a remote. A photo appeared on the screen. A man in shadows, face obscured. Ghost sent one final transmission before he vanished. 4 words. They know. Moving package. We've had intelligence teams searching for 3 years. No body, no trail, no closure. He paused, letting that sink in. Until yesterday. Another click, a grainy video feed. A warehouse in Venezuela. Armed guards. And in the center, chained to a chair, a figure so emaciated and broken it barely looked human. We have confirmation. Ghost is alive. Barely. And we have a 72-hour window to extract him before he's moved to a location we'll never reach. The room erupted. Questions. Volunteers. Everyone wanted this mission. Webb stood. Sir, with respect, my team should take point. We've trained for exactly this type of operation. Jackson nodded. Agreed. Webb, you'll lead. Select your team. Webb's eyes scanned the room, calling out names. The best of the best. Operators who've proven themselves in the most hostile environments on Earth. Then his gaze landed on Sarah. A cruel smile played at his lips. And Chun. We'll bring Chun. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the room. Sir, one operator protested. She hasn't completed the full training cycle. She completed the combat assessment, didn't she? Webb's smile widened. Besides, this is what equality looks like. She wants to be treated like one of us. She gets treated like one of us. Welcome to the teams, Lieutenant. Try not to get anyone killed. Sarah said nothing, but something cold settled in her chest. Webb wasn't taking her because he believed in her. He was taking her because he expected her to fail. Publicly. Fatally. And somehow, that failure would destroy Ghost's only chance at survival. The plane ride to the Colombian border was silent. Sarah sat alone in the back, running through contingencies. The mission brief was thin. Too thin. Ghost was being held in a fortified compound controlled by Los Sombras, a cartel so violent they made other cartels look like street gangs. 12 hostiles confirmed. Probably more. Unknown floor plan. Unknown security protocols. And Ghost himself might not survive the extraction, even if they reached him. It was a suicide mission wrapped in a rescue. Operation. Webb gathered the team for final instructions. Listen up. We going fast and quiet. Chun, you're on Overwatch. Find a position 200 yards out and keep eyes on the perimeter. That's it. Don't try to be a hero. Translation, stay out of the way. But Sarah had studied the satellite imagery during the flight. Something Webb clearly hadn't noticed. The Overwatch position he'd assigned her wasn't just useless. It was deliberately compromised. From that angle, she'd have zero visibility on the compound's rear entrance, where reinforcements would most likely arrive. Either Webb was incompetent, or he was setting her up to fail. She suspected both. Understood, Sergeant, she said, her voice neutral. They inserted under cover of darkness. The jungle was alive with sound. Insects. Night birds. And underneath it all, the distant thrum of generators from the compound. Sarah moved to the assigned position, set up her rifle, and waited exactly 3 minutes. Then she moved. The real Overwatch position was 500 yards northwest, harder to reach, exposed during approach. But it offered clear sight lines on every entrance, every guard post, every possible threat vector. She was in position when Webb's team made their move. It went wrong immediately. The intelligence was bad. Not 12 hostiles. 27. With RPGs, with heavy machine guns. With a level of military training that suggested these weren't ordinary cartel soldiers. Webb's team was pinned down before they reached the compound. Fall back! Webb's voice crackled over the radio. Fall back! Chun, where the hell are you? We need covering fire. Sarah didn't respond. She was already working. Her first shot took out a hostile manning an RPG. Her second dropped a sniper on the compound roof. Her third, fourth, and fifth came so fast they sounded like a single continuous crack of thunder. The tide turned. Webb's team pushed forward, using the sudden chaos to breach the compound. Sarah provided overwatch, her shot surgical, precise. Every trigger pull ended a threat, but then she saw a dot movement on the western ridge. 3 vehicles, reinforcements. Exactly where the compromised position Webb had assigned her would never have spotted them. Contact west, Sarah transmitted. 3 vehicles, approximately 15 additional hostiles. Ada 2 minutes. Webb's response was venomous. Chun, get back to your assigned position. That's an order. Negative. My assigned position is compromised. I can hold them from here. You can't hold 15 hostiles alone, you stupid. Sarah stopped listening. She had work to do. The vehicles closed in. Sarah's mind shifted into a state she rarely accessed. A place beyond thought, beyond fear. Pure calculation and execution. She targeted the lead vehicle's engine block. The truck lurched and died, blocking the narrow road. The others couldn't pass. Hostiles poured out, using the disabled vehicles for cover. They had numbers. They had firepower. Sarah had something else. For the next 4 minutes, she held that western approach alone. Every shot counted, every movement deliberate. She wasn't just shooting. She was conducting a symphony of controlled violence. When the smoke cleared, all 15 hostiles were down or retreating. Webb's team secured. Ghost. The extraction helicopter arrived. They were wheels up and gone before Venezuelan military could respond. Back at base, Sarah expected a debriefing, maybe a reprimand for disobeying orders. Instead, she was escorted to Commander Jackson's office. Alone. Jackson sat behind his desk, his expression unreadable. A manila folder lay in front of him. Sit down, Lieutenant. Sarah sat. Jackson opened the folder. Pushed it across the desk. Inside was a photograph. A younger Sarah. Different haircut. Different name on the uniform. And next to her, a man she recognized even though his face was turned away from the camera. Ghost. You want to tell me why you never mentioned that you and Ghost served together? Jackson's voice was quiet. Dangerous. Sarah's throat tightened. It was classified, sir. Don't play games with me, Chun. Or should I call you by your real name? Sarah Reyes? The room felt too small suddenly. Jackson continued. I did some digging after your performance on that extraction. Your file was too clean. Too perfect. Like someone had scrubbed it. So I made some calls. Called in favors. And you know what I found. He pulled out another document. Sarah Reyes, former Delta Force operator. Classified Black Ops. Dishonorably discharged 3 years ago under circumstances sealed by national security protocols. He leaned forward. The same week Ghost disappeared. Sarah said nothing. Her hands were steady, but her mind was racing. Here's what I think happened, Jackson said. I think you and Ghost were running an operation that went sideways. I think Ghost got captured covering your extraction. I think you've been carrying that guilt for 3 years. And I think you manipulated your way into this training program because you knew eventually we'd find Ghost. You knew we'd mount a rescue. And you wanted to be there when it happened. Every word was true. Sarah met his eyes. Permission to speak freely, sir. Granted. Ghost didn't get captured covering my extraction. He got captured because I failed him. We were running a joint infiltration. The intel was compromised. We were ambushed. He told me to run. Told me to complete the mission. I should have stayed. Should have fought my way to him. Her voice cracked, just slightly. Instead, I ran. I've been running ever since. Jackson studied her for a long moment. The mission Ghost told you to complete. Did you complete it? Yes, sir. How many lives did that save? Sarah paused. Conservative estimate? 3,000. The weapons we stopped from moving would have been used in coordinated attacks across 4 continents. And if you'd stayed to fight? If you tried to save Ghost? We both would have been captured or killed. The mission would have failed. 3,000 people would have died. Jackson closed the folder. That's the job, Lieutenant. We make impossible choices. We live with the consequences. Ghost knew that better than anyone. Doesn't make it easier, sir. No, it doesn't. Silence filled the office. Finally, Jackson spoke again. Ghost is in medical. Severe malnutrition. Broken bones. Psychological trauma. But he's alive because of you again. Sarah felt something break inside her chest. There's something else you should know, Jackson continued. We interrogated one of the cartel members we captured during the extraction. Turns out Los Sombras wasn't just holding Ghost. They were waiting. Waiting for what? For you. The words hit like a physical blow. Jackson pulled out one more document. A transcript. The cartel knew about your history with Ghost. They've been using him as bait for 3 years, hoping you'd surface. Hoping you'd try to rescue him. They have a price on your head, Lieutenant. $5 million. Dead or alive. Sarah processed this. Then why keep Ghost alive? Because they knew the American military wouldn't mount a rescue operation for a dead operative. They needed him alive to draw you out. They failed this time. They won't stop trying. So, what happens now? Jackson leaned back in his chair. That depends. Do you want to keep running? Keep hiding? Or do you want to do the job you were trained to do? What are you offering, sir? A place on my team. Official reinstatement. Full restoration of rank and privileges. But there's a condition. What condition? You stop lying. To me. To the men. To yourself. You are Sarah Reyes, former Delta Force, one of the most effective operators in modern military history. And you're exactly what this unit needs, whether Sergeant Webb and his fan club like it or not. Sarah felt tears threatening. She pushed them back. And the target on my back? Jackson smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. We use it. Los Sombras wants you. Let them come. But this time, they're walking into our trap. The confrontation happened 3 days later. Ghost was stable enough for visitors. Sarah stood outside his hospital room, her hand on the door handle, unable to push it open. You going to stand there all day? A voice behind her, rough, familiar. She turned. Sergeant Webb. His face was hard, but something in his eyes had changed. I owe you an apology, he said. The words seemed to cause him physical pain. You don't owe me anything, Sergeant. Yeah, I do. He stepped closer. I read your file. Your real file. Commander Jackson thought I should know who I've been treating like garbage for the past 2 months. And? Webb looked away. And I'm an idiot. I let my ego and my prejudice almost get my team killed. You saved our lives out there. More than that. You saved Ghost, despite everything I did to sabotage you. You didn't sabotage me, Sergeant. You challenged me, made me sharper. That's generous. No, that's tactical. You're a good operator, Webb. You just need to remember that the enemy isn't the person standing next to you. Webb nodded slowly, then extended his hand. Sarah shook it. For what it's worth, Webb said. I'm glad you're on our team. The real team, not the experimental bullshit. You're an operator. Full stop. He walked away, leaving Sarah alone with her thoughts and the closed door. She pushed it open. Ghost lay in the bed, tubes and wires connecting him to machines that beeped softly. He looked like a skeleton wrapped in paper-thin skin. But his eyes were clear. Sarah. Just her name. Nothing else. But it contained everything. I'm sorry, she whispered. I should have come back for you. You did come back for me. 3 years late, but who's counting? He tried to smile. Failed. You completed the mission? Yes. Then you did exactly what I told you to do. You made the right call. It didn't feel right. The right call never does. That's how you know it's right. Sarah pulled up a chair. Sat down. They stayed like that for a long time, not speaking. Not needing to, finally Ghost spoke again. They told me about Los Sombras. About the price on your head. I can handle it. I know you can. But you won't have to. Not alone. Ghost. I'm coming back, Sarah. I'm going to rehab, rebuild. and then I'm going to help you end this. We started this operation together. We finish it together. Sarah felt the weight she'd carried for 3 years begin to lift. Just slightly. Together, she agreed. Word spread fast. By the next morning, everyone on base knew the truth. Sarah Chun was Sarah Reyes, Delta Force legend. The ghost partner. The whispers change. Did you hear what she did in Yemen? 12 confirmed kills in 4 minutes. Under heavy fire. She once walked 30 miles through enemy territory with a broken leg to complete an extraction. Respect replaced mockery. But Sarah knew respect was fragile, temporary. She'd have to earn it every single day. Webb approached her during morning. PT. Commander Jackson wants to see you. Conference room. Now. Sarah followed him inside. The room was packed. Not just with her training unit. With brass admirals, generals, people who made decisions that changed the world. Commander Jackson stood at the front. Lieutenant Reyes, front and center. Sarah moved forward. Her spine straight. Jackson's expression was neutral. The higher-ups have been discussing your situation. Your reinstatement. Your future with naval special warfare. Here it comes, Sarah thought. The bureaucratic acts. There are concerns, Jackson continued. Questions about whether a person with your history can operate effectively in a team environment. Whether the security risk of having a $5 million target on your head outweighs your tactical value. Sarah kept her face blank. So we've decided to resolve those concerns with a demonstration. Jackson gestured to Webb. Sergeant, Webb has proposed a challenge. Full contact combat. You against our top 3 operators, simultaneously. If you win, your reinstatement stands. If you lose, you're reassigned to a desk job, permanently. The room went silent. Sarah's eyes found Webb's. He looked almost apologetic. That's not a fair fight, Sarah said. Webb nodded. I know, but fair doesn't matter. What matters is proving beyond any doubt that you belong here. Can you do that? Sarah considered. 3 opponents. All SEALs. All combat veterans. All determined to test her limits. When? She asked. Tonight. 1900 hours. The training yard. And Lieutenant? Jackson's voice softened. Just slightly. The entire unit will be watching. All 267 operators. Don't make me regret believing in you. The sun was setting when Sarah entered the training yard. 267. Navy SEALs formed a circle around the combat ring, silent, watching. 3. Men waited in the center. Rodriguez. Mamay fighter she'd beaten on her first day. Thompson. A weapons specialist. Known for his brutal takedown techniques. And Sergeant Marcus Webb. Himself. Commander Jackson stepped forward. Rules are simple. Full contact. Fight until submission or incapacitation. Medics are standing by. He looked at Sarah. Last chance to back out, Lieutenant. Sarah removed her jacket. Rolled her shoulders. I don't back out, sir. I believe we've established that. A hint of a smile crossed Jackson's face. Begin. The 3 operators moved as a unit, surrounding Sarah. Professional. Coordinated. Dangerous. Sarah didn't move. She waited, watched, calculated. Webb struck first. A high kick designed to distract while Rodriguez and Thompson closed from the sides. Sarah dropped low, swept Webb's standing leg, used his falling body to shield herself from Thompson's tackle. Rodriguez was already adjusting, coming in fast. The fight became a blur. Sarah moved like water, flowing between strikes, turning defense into offense. Never staying still long enough for them to pin her down. She caught Thompson's punch, redirected it into Rodriguez's face. Used Webb's momentum to slam him into the sand. Dodged, struck, defended. But 3 against 1 was still 3 against 1. A punch from Rodriguez caught her ribs. Pain exploded through her chest. She tasted blood. Thompson got behind her, locked in a chokehold. Sarah felt consciousness beginning to fade. This was it. The moment she'd lose. The moment everyone would see she didn't belong. No. Sarah remembered Ghost's words. The right call never feels right. She stopped fighting the chokehold. Instead, she drove her heel down on Thompson's instep with every ounce of strength she had. Bone crunch. His grip loosened. She spun free. Webb and Rodriguez were back on their feet, both breathing hard, both showing respect in their eyes now. They came at her again, and Sarah Chun, Sarah Reyes, the woman who'd spent 3 years running from her past, finally stopped running. She met them head on. The fight lasted 7 more minutes. When it ended, all 3 operators were on the ground, not unconscious, but beaten. Sarah stood alone in the center, bleeding, exhausted. Victorious. The silence was absolute. Then, from the back of the formation, someone started clapping. Slowly, deliberately. Others joined, one by one, until all 267 Navy SEALs were applauding. Webb pushed himself to his feet, limped toward Sarah, extended his hand. "Welcome to the teams, Lieutenant. For real this time." Sarah shook his hand. "Thank you, Sergeant." Commander Jackson stepped forward. "Lieutenant Sarah Reyes, by order of Naval Special Warfare Command, you are hereby officially reinstated to active duty with full honors and privileges." He paused. "And effective immediately, you're being assigned to a new unit, a special task force dedicated to hunting down Los Sombras and neutralizing the threat against you and every operator who participated in Ghost's rescue." Sarah's heart raced. "Who's leading this task force, sir?" Jackson smiled. A real smile this time. "You are, Lieutenant. You get to pick your team. And something tells me you'll have plenty of volunteers." 6 months later, Sarah Reyes stood on a rooftop in Mexico City, watching the sun set over the skyline. Behind her, her team prepped equipment. Webb, Rodriguez, Thompson, and Ghost, fully recovered, looking lean and dangerous. They'd spent half a year dismantling Los Sombras piece by piece. Tonight was the final operation. The cartel's leadership gathered in one location for the first time in years. Ghost appeared beside her. "You ready for this?" "I've been ready for 3 years." "No, I mean, are you ready for what comes after? When this is over, you'll have a choice. Stay in the field, or move on to something else. Actually live a normal life for once." Sarah considered this. "What about you? Me? I'm too broken for normal. But you, Sarah? You deserve better than this endless war." Sarah turned to face him. "Maybe. But this endless war needs people willing to fight it. Besides, I tried running. Tried hiding. Didn't suit me." Ghost laughed. "No, I suppose it didn't." Webb's voice crackled over the radio. "We're in position. Waiting on your go." Sarah took a breath, picked up her rifle. "All units." "This is Reyes. Remember, we're not here for revenge. We're here to end this. To make sure no one else has to spend 3 years wondering if their teammate is alive or dead. To make sure the next operator who walks into that training yard, whether they're male or female, black or white, gets judged on their skills and nothing else." She paused. "We're here to do the job right. Let's move." The team descended into the darkness. 267 Navy SEALs were watching the live feed from command. Watching Sarah Reyes lead her team into battle. Watching her do what she'd always done. Fight, adapt, overcome, and prove that strength has nothing to do with gender. And everything to do with the courage to stand when everyone expects you to fall. The mission was a success. Los Sombras was destroyed. And Sarah Reyes, the woman who'd been told she didn't belong, became the most decorated female operator in naval special warfare history. But that's not the end of her story. It's just the beginning, because somewhere in the world, right now, there's another woman being told she doesn't belong. Being told she's not strong enough, not tough enough, not enough. And maybe, just maybe, she'll hear about Lieutenant Sarah Reyes and She'll decide that other people's doubts are just noise.static, got something to tune out while you do the work. That's the end of today's story, but I hope it stays with you for a while. If something in it spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share your thoughts. It's your comments that keep me inspired to make the next one.